Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Wondrous Museum from publisher Broadway Games. In this game, you are trying to create the most wondrous museum by putting out interesting and intriguing artifacts. Let's head over to the table, I'll show you how the game is played, we'll come back here and I will let you know what I think. When setting up a game of the Wondrous Museum, you're going to take the deck of regular exhibit cards, and then you're going to choose two different themes that you can add to that deck, and you'll shuffle them all up to make a market. And so there are different themes here in the box. You'll pick two of them. They all have some slightly different aspects to them that the rule book will talk about those different themes, but you'll pick two, shuffle them together with the regular exhibit cards, and then you'll have an exhibit deck. Alright, so once you've added the two theme decks to the main deck, you shuffle it up. You're going to create a market of 5 cards that are going to be the open market. You're going to take a different deck of cards and you're going to just randomly draw 5 from it. This is going to be the black market. These 5 cards are the only of their type that you'll see in the game. And then each player is going to have a player area where they're going to have their gate, 2 admiration tokens on the gate, one of each of the 5 different colored runes, a double-sided player aid card, and then you'll draw 5 cards from the top of the deck. That's going to start as your starting hand. What you're trying to do is have the most impressive museum through putting exhibits into it. Each exhibit's going to have some points, and that's represented in this icon here. So at the end of the game, you want to have the most points. How are you doing that? Well, you're going to be doing that through taking one of 3 core actions on your turn. Those actions are exchanging exhibit cards, acquiring exhibit cards, or having showtime. So let's just talk about those. To exchange exhibit cards, what you do is simply draw 3 cards off the top of the deck, and then you'll take those along with the cards that are in your hand, and you're going to discard 1. So you're essentially getting 2 cards. The card you discard doesn't have to come from the original 3 that you drew. You can discard any card at that point. The only consideration to keep in mind is that you can never have more than 8 cards in your hand. That's exchanging cards. One of the biggest things that you'll be doing is putting new exhibits into your museum, so acquiring exhibits. Each of these cards has a particular cost to play them into your museum. The cost is going to be in the upper left of the card, so in this case, it has a cost of 4. However, all cards in the open market have some tokens above them that are going to modify the cost. It's going to add to the cost. So this card has a base of 4, but being that it's the closest card to the deck, you actually have to add 3, so this one would cost 7. They get cheaper as you go further down. There's no cost modifier to the black market cards, and there's no cost modifier to the cards in your hand. So, how do you pay for these cards? There's a couple of different ways. One is that every card in your hand has a base value of 1 if you discard it. So if you discard 2 cards from your hand, that's essentially 2 currency. The other way is that certain cards in your museum are going to have some currency that you can spend the admiration tokens on to utilize. So this gate tells you that for each admiration token on it, it's going to be 2 currency, and they started with 2 1 value admiration tokens. So if I spent these 2, that would be 4 currency, and I could right away play one of these 4 value, but maybe I want to play this 5 value one right here, so I'll discard this card. Now I have a value of 5, and I can play this out into my museum. It has to be played on either side of the gate, and that really is going to be consideration for when you do your third action, which is running the show. But let's say I went ahead and I placed it right there. As you're going on, you're going to be adding more and more cards to your museum, more and more exhibits to your museum, and eventually what you're going to do is you're going to run the show, and that is the third core action. When you run the show, what you're going to do is you are going to choose one of your unexhausted runes in front of you, and you're going to trigger it. So, certain cards, like this one, don't have any runes on it. This is an ongoing ability card, so this is just going to be in play while it's in your museum. But other cards, most of them have runes. Let's say I flipped over this pink rune. Every single one of these cards has a pink rune, so you're going to be triggering all 3 of these cards from left to right. When you trigger them, you're going to be doing what it says on the card. Many of them are very simple, something like this, where this is saying either get the cheapest card from the open market or put an admiration token on this card, which we've already shown you is worth 2 currency for each one on there. Certain cards like this are going to let you move tokens around. So this is saying move an admiration token from this specific type of card to any red bannered card, and things along those lines. The other thing to keep in mind is that some of these cards, like this one for example, is not giving you currency for every admiration token on it. It's giving you points. So for every admiration token on this card, it's worth 2 points. And that's important because that's one of the 2 ways that the end game can be triggered. First is if a player gets 9 exhibits into their museum, so a total of 10 counting the gate, that's going to trigger the end of the game, and then everyone will play one final round. Or if there are ever 20 points represented on admiration tokens in your museum. So again, every token on here is worth 2 points. If across all the cards in your museum you had admiration tokens that equal to 20 or more points, that would also trigger the end of the game. You're going to continue to play this way, taking those 3 core actions until one player has triggered the end of the game, and then whoever has the most points is going to win the Wondrous Museum. Let's head back up and I will let you know what I think. All right, well, there you have the Wondrous Museum. And one thing I didn't mention in the overview I wanted to just kind of make a quick note of here is that when you are running your showtime and you're flipping over those rune tokens, as soon as your 4th rune token gets flipped over, you get to refill them all. And so you get multiple chances to activate those runes throughout the game. And that's important because as the game progresses, the timing of when you activate those runes is going to be very, very important. And so I think you can get a sense from the overview that this is what you would call an engine building, tableau building type of a game, where you are placing cards into a tableau and you are trying to create some synergies between the cards in your museum to kind of get more efficient actions, to give you more bang for your buck, so to speak, whenever you run a showtime. And so I think that it does that very well. You're only going to have a total of, if you're able to, a maximum of 10 cards, 9 of which are actually putting into your museum at any given time. And so the cards that you put down are very important. That's not to say that you are doing something necessarily inefficient or poor by putting some lower level cards that are maybe, just solid, reliable currency building cards, things along those lines. But it's really when you get into the higher cost cards that have the more powerful abilities that you really can kind of see where some of these combos can sing and they can shine. And, very similarly, everyone is likely going to want to get one of those black market cards into their museum. Another thing I forgot to mention in the overview is that you can never have more than one of those black market cards in your museum. So just another thing to note. But let's talk a little bit about the production of the game, because it is highs and lows, I think, with the production. And on its positive end, I think it does some things very well. And on its negative end, I think it leads to some usability issues that actually do kind of affect my final score for the game. So talking about the positives first is that I really do like the art in the game across the board. Each of those exhibits have really cool art on those cards. I like the aesthetic of the game, the feel of the game with the slightly mystical kind of elements, especially with those black market cards. I really like that vibe. The rune tokens are wood, screen printed, nice chunky pieces. It feels satisfying to flip those over. So all of that is done well. It's in a small package, which can be a benefit in that it doesn't take up a lot of space on your shelf, but it does lead to some concessions that have to be made. And some of those concessions I feel like are a bit problematic. Number one is that the cards themselves are very small, and therefore the text on the cards is very, very small. And so I'm someone that will be using my readers for sure when I play this game because the text is very, very small. Some of the iconography I think is better than others. Some of it is pretty clear and easy to understand, but the more complex those actions can get, especially when they're talking about ranges, within X number of cards, things along those lines, that can be a little bit tricky to kind of parse and wrap your mind around. And I think it's going to cause the first couple of games to go a little bit more slowly, a little more of a herky-jerky type of a thing until you get comfortable with what these different cards can do. The other element of the game that I think affects its usability are the admiration tokens. I don't particularly love that they're double-sided with different values on either side. I understand that that's, an economy of components, which, I do appreciate not having more components than you need. But when the values on those tokens matter so much, if they accidentally get bumped, it can really throw things off. And so I kind of wish they had come up with a different solution for that. So production-wise, like I said, a mixed bag. Some parts of it I really like. Some parts of it I think do affect the usability and have accounted a bit for my final score in the game. The other slight negative that I have is that one of the two end game triggers is that 20 points that are shown in your museum at any given time. I don't particularly love that you're constantly, especially not at the beginning of the game, but as you get further into the game, you're constantly reevaluating how many points you have on your cards based upon the number of admiration tokens on them. I think that's a little bit clunky. It's a little bit annoying to have to kind of continue to reevaluate how many points you have at any given time. That I feel like it's a little bit inelegant. So those are the negatives, but the positives are that it really does have a strong sense of engine building. I really do like the way you can build synergistic combos. I really like the fact that the different theme decks that you choose to play in the game can dramatically affect the way the game feels. And I like how the rule book does a good job of explaining kind of what these different themes will do. And if you're looking for this type of an experience, you would want to add this particular theme deck in there. So it's really cool on that aspect. I think that this is a game that has a lot of replay value because you've got all of those theme decks in the game. And so even if you were choosing the same two theme decks to add, you could play that a bunch of times. But you add in all of these different decks that do slightly different things within the same mechanical structure of the game. I think that's a huge positive. So overall, the Wondrous Museum is a game that I absolutely recommend. It would probably be getting a seal of excellence if I didn't have those production issues. But that being said, I'm still going to be giving the game a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a really solid engine building, tableau building type of a game. Does not overstay its welcome and has a beautiful look and a lot of great replayability. All of those are the reasons why I can easily recommend it. I probably would have gotten it even high. Well, not probably. I definitely would have come even higher if those production issues had not been in the game. The tokens being the way they are, the really small text on the cards making it very difficult to kind of see, the inconsistent iconography. So all of those things kind of had to pull it down a little bit, but not to the point where I don't think it's a really solid game that I still would heartily recommend. So there you have it. That is the Wondrous Museum. I am Mike DiLisio, and I will see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.